So if you've been keeping up with ABC's RJ Decker, you already know this show has been quietly becoming one of the most fun detective dramas on network TV right now. And today, we're breaking down everything we know about Season 2. The plot, the cast, the mysteries, and when we might actually get it. Let's get into it. Show overview. For anyone who needs a quick refresher, RJ Decker follows a former photographer who, after a personal tragedy, reinvents himself as a private investigator. Season 1 sees Decker tackling all kinds of cases, some weird, some genuinely puzzling, and he's not doing it alone. He's got help from his ex-wife and her new wife, who happens to be a police investigator. That dynamic alone makes the show worth watching. But beyond the cases, Season 1 also gave us a much more personal storyline. RJ's complicated relationship with a woman named Emmy, whose father ends up becoming the main villain in the final stretch of the season. And that season finale? It ends on a cliffhanger that spells serious trouble for RJ and everyone close to him. Renewal status and release window. Now, as of right now, ABC has not officially renewed RJ Decker for Season 2. But here's why fans aren't panicking. When the show first premiered, it became the network's most watched drama in the 10 p.m. time slot in over 5 years. That's huge. And after High Potential Season 2 wrapped up, RJ Decker was bumped up to the 9 p.m. primetime slot, which is a pretty strong signal that the network believes in this show. So if a renewal does come through, we're likely looking at a fall 2026 or early 2027 release, in line with how most network shows operate on an annual cycle. Season 2 plot, Victor Ochoa's murder. Okay, let's talk about what Season 2 is actually going to be about, because this is where it gets really interesting. Now, while RJ Decker draws inspiration from Carl Hiaasen's novel Double Whammy, the show has been carving out its own path in some really creative ways. And Season 2 looks like it's going to take things even further. So by the end of Season 1, RJ and his crew have been going up against Victor Ochoa, a powerful and influential politician who's been operating in some very shady territory. When Victor tries to come after RJ directly, the whole group rallies together to take him down. And on the surface, it looks like RJ wins. But here's the twist. While RJ and his friends are celebrating, Victor is alone at his home, and then his body is found floating in his pool. That moment right there sets up the entire premise of Season 2. Victor Ochoa's murder becomes the central mystery of the season, woven in alongside the show's usual case of the week format. And here's what makes it even more compelling. Before he died, Victor actually told his daughter Emmy that yes, he had been dealing with some very dangerous people. But his reasoning? He claimed it was all to protect the city. Which raises a huge question. Was Victor actually the villain, or was he more of a gatekeeper? Someone keeping the real threats in check? Because with him gone, whatever he was holding back is now free to come out. Emmy's arc and RJ's relationships. Speaking of Emmy, her arc in Season 2 is going to be fascinating to watch. Her relationship with RJ has already been through a lot. They started out on opposite sides. She played a role in getting him thrown in prison, but eventually they found their way to a genuine friendship, even if RJ still has his doubts about her. In Season 2, Emmy takes control of her father's company and starts uncovering the secrets he'd been keeping from her all along. And as she digs deeper, both she and RJ are going to find themselves crossing paths with some seriously dangerous people. At the same time, we're also going to see RJ's friendship with Mel continue to grow as the two team up on more cases, including the investigation into Victor's murder. And yes, the romance between RJ and Emmy will keep developing too. So there's a lot of emotional ground to cover on top of all the action. New villains. And that brings us to the villains, because Season 2 is definitely going to expand on that front. Victor Ochoa had been keeping certain dangerous forces in check for a long time. Now that he's gone, those forces are going to start making their move. So expect new, more dangerous antagonists to step into the spotlight, and possibly even more corrupt politicians getting exposed along the way. Cast? Now let's run through the cast, because there's a lot to cover here. The lead, RJ Decker himself, will of course be back as the show's central private investigator. Joining him, Jaina Lee Ortiz returns as Emmy, Bevan Brew plays Mel, Kevin Rankin plays Wish, Adelaide Clemens plays Catherine, and Melody Rose Romano plays young Sophia. Now, David Zayas played Victor Ochoa, and even though Victor is dead, don't count him out just yet. The character could easily return through flashback sequences that shed more light on what actually happened the day he was murdered. And then there's Maximo Salas, who's expected to return as Lucas Ochoa. He spent most of Season 1 in the background, but with his father now dead, his role could become a lot more significant going into Season 2. As the season introduces new suspects, victims, and villains, expect fresh faces to join the cast as well. And that's everything we know about R.J. Decker Season 2 so far. There's a lot to be excited about. A compelling murder mystery, deeper character arcs, new villains, and a show that's clearly only getting stronger. If ABC pulls the trigger on a renewal, this is going to be one to watch. Thanks for watching. If you found this helpful, make sure to like and subscribe for more breakdowns just like this one.